Hello there, welcome to episode 17 of my tutorial series for Factorio. So today we're finally going to get into oil processing. It's been about time, we've been preparing a lot, but it is really important to stress out that preparations in this game are extremely important. Therefore, we've spent our time well. Speaking about spent time, I have done all the things that I wanted to. We have another mining outpost back here, digging out the copper for us. We have another train track, a very simplistic one, just a straight track, nothing more. And I also did expand the factory territory because, we are going to do some oil refining here after all. And, well, yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about before we go into oil processing for today. So, first off, the things that I noticed that I wanted to fix on camera. So I did make a lot of mistakes while building this. Everybody does mistakes while building unless you're using blueprints, because it's human nature to have slight mess-ups and such things, and my goal for the series is to fix these things and show you how to fix them. So here we have one really nice special. So here I filtered this thing to steel. And as you see, the result is that no more steel is passing down this line. This is because this splitter makes it so that coal only goes this way and steel only goes that way. So to fix this, we're going to work now with a second splitter. But first, let's separate this from the mainstream. It's really important that we do so, otherwise we might pollute our belts. And belt pollution, that's when stuff is hitting the belts where it shouldn't be, can be really nasty. So to fix this, we're using now another splitter, and we're going to put it down here. And I'm shift right clicking now to copy the configuration, and shift left click it to put it down here. And now I delete this output priority, and now we have exactly what we wanted to. So now this one will just separate the belt just like before, and this splitter will then do the filtering that we require to have business as usual here. So that's one thing that I did wrong, even on camera, and I just want to stress out it is important to just forgive yourself for those little mistakes, because you will find a lot of these. I also have expanded my power production, where I also had a missing pipe here in between, so this is another little thing that often is a problem, on my end at least. I love to forget these. And yeah, that's just a side note. You will always find little things that you need to work on. Alright, so with these outposts in place, we have now everything we require. Before we go to the oil processing, I want to return to one of these unloading stations, because I want to showcase one specific thing that's really important to me, because it is, well, influencing your unloading quite a lot. So, yeah, this way. As you see there, the base is quite expansive by now. And we're today going to go for plastic and explosives. And with explosives, we will finally have the ability to get rid of those darn cliffs, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So what's happening here, as you see, the unloading station is just unloading on one side of the belt. That is rather bad, and I want to have it differently. So my favorite way of weaving the situation is I'm pressing R now to twist this away. And we're going to make this that way, place the power pole. And now we're going to go for this. And what I'm doing next is a little bit of expansion there. Let's make it like that. And now I twist this one by pressing R, like this, and we can delete these. What happens now is that 50% goes now this way, and the other 50% goes the other way, and this way we are now finally utilizing both of the belts. Unloading stations are an interesting thing for themselves. We're going to unlock stack inserters soon, which is pretty much what we're after, because these will get the job done much, much faster. More about train logistics on another moment. This is a lengthy and expensive topic. Now, we have pretty much all we could ask for right now. Sort of. We have not enough steel production. This one here is really measly, but I want to go for the expansion of the steel production on another day's topic. Today, we're going to go and process ourselves some oil. Plastic is what we're after mainly, as this plastic will then allow us to finally craft those advanced circuits. These are next level stuff, and it'll get us to a lot of places. But to make plastic, we do require coal and petrol gas. Petrol gas can be produced out of crude oil, so it is a very simplistic approach. Oh my, I forgot the machines. So what we are requiring first is a couple of chemical plants, a couple of oil refineries, and pipes. Oh my god, so many pipes. So let's get started with that. Alright. Of course, you can expand your mall complex to your own liking. I will do some expansions here over the course of the series, every now and then, but I keep it to a minimum, as I want to showcase in this series first and foremostly how to build a rocket. All the tools that I'm featuring here can be used for so many things. Now then, to get ourselves a picture, we want to produce enough oil for, or enough plastic for a certain amount of red circuits. Here I went for 2.5 red circuits per second, so I have something at hand. As you see there on the diagram, we need now 6 oil refineries to refine that stuff, that oil into petrol gas, and then we need 3 more chemical plants to get the rest of the job done, and obviously we need coal to get that done. So first off, we're going to work in this area here around that pond. So let's start working with the with the oil thingies. I just noticed that I need to probably re-sort my bar down there. I'm a messy builder. I've always been. It's one of my weaknesses, sort of. Alright, I'll put these together like that. So 6 oil refineries we will require. I'll be putting these pretty much next to each other with, let's say, something like that in between. I do leave a little bit more space between these, as I want to make sure that we have operating room. You could, of course, place them closer together. It's to your own. I personally am always a little bit more generous in this game because I feel like space is infinite in this game, pretty much. Now then, let's build a compact one. So we select now the first recipe, and there's only one recipe available at the start. So here we go now, shift right click and shift left click. And we now get to put in oil into this whole thing. This is the simplest part. We're just connecting these, and now we're using pipe to ground mechanisms, and I use a setup like this. So as you see, I'll leave a blank spot in the middle because I will fill this now obviously with the pipes. So basic oil refining is very simple. There is really not much complexity to it, and well, we're going to use the simple ones. And it's really that easy. Crude oil in, petrol gas out. There's not much more to understand about that. Things get more complicated later when we get advanced oil processing. Will be the first keystone technology that we pretty much go for after we're done with plastic production. And then we get different types of oil, and that's where things get interesting and lucrative and efficient. Well, but I'm getting ahead of myself. For today, we're working with an inefficient system, and that is why I'm keeping things rather small, because right now we just don't have the necessary production. Just to put things into perspective, this patch down here, let's use max rate calculator mod again for the sake of the clarity. You see these here produce 149 oil per second. That is the top notch production of this entire patch. So it has a combined yield of 1,500%, but that's what it boils down. So you could also say that every 10% of the combined yield are 1 unit of oil per second, roughly. If we now check the recipe we're after, though, we notice that we're already spending pretty much 2/3 of the entire production of that patch just for the red circuits alone. I would love to do more stuff with my oil. So you either tap into new patches or you go into advanced oil processing eventually, because that's where you just get much more petrol gas out of your crude oil eventually. I will explain everything once it's time for that, but I just want to explain why we're keeping things small scale at this level. So what we now require are 3 more chemical plants for the plastic production. And here I'm going to go now and orient myself towards our availability of coal. So let's see. I have coal pretty much on the line here, and we have splitters here. So let's do this like that. Let's see. The production here requires 2.45 pieces of coal per second. So, well, this is not ideal. I would prefer to have a different source of coal, but for the time being, we're going to use it as it is. I really would prefer a different method of providing material here. So I'm weaving this alongside with more ammo belts because, you know, I like to organize things in one way or another, and I can only recommend you to do this one way or another too. And now we're going to put down the chemical plants. Here we go. As you see, they also have exits and entrances for liquids, just like these bad boys have. Currently, we're only using, as you see, only a minor portion of the liquid ports of the oil refineries, so things will get more juicy here. Now then, plastic bars. We're going to require 3 of these bad boys, just like that. And we're rotating them now this way, so that we can easily just pipe in the petrol gas like that. So, let's do this. I'm going to somewhat triangulate this like that. Boom. Now we go downwards just like that. Perfect. And just like this, we have the whole situation down. So you could now easily go for a connection like that. Works perfectly fine. Doesn't matter if you have 2 ports or 1 port connected. So let's check back with the inputs here. You can also use max rate calculator to give you a information about how many inserters you require. So if we would be outputting our plastic here like that on this with basic inserters, we would need 2 of them. For the input we see 1 basic inserter is enough. It is really gosh darn hard to calculate that by yourself. I personally really fail at that completely. That's why I love using tools like Max Rate Calculator so much. So to tidy up things here a little bit, I will use though a different build because I want to output in this direction. Doesn't make sense now. It'll make sense in a hot second. So I want to have my plastic on this side. And due to the underground builds, we have here a free spot now where we can just use fast inserter, because obviously 1 yellow inserter doesn't cut it. So we're going to use the better power poles on this end, and the small one on this end. And now we got the plastic production going. This is a major milestone on our list, and we can now easily just pick up electronic circuits and shift left click that and upgrade them on the fly in our inventory. I strongly recommend to do so because there's a couple of really nice gadgets that you can build just out of red circuits alone. And first and mostly among these is the modular armor. As you see here, I need 30 pieces of red circuit to get the job done, and it'll take a while until I am going to build myself a real facility for the red circuits, and therefore we're going to handcraft ourselves some there. So this will be our momentary supply. So the next thing that we want to go for here is I want to make cliff explosives. These are for me personally one of the most important things in the game, and yeah, you could also just disable cliffs while you're generating the world, by the way. You don't want to. But cliff explosives are another thing that you're now able to produce with the same setup that we currently have. So, here we go. Explosives are an intermediate, which requires coal, sulfur, and water. Sulfur is a material that you won't be finding naturally. You require petrol gas for that and water. So this facility here is exactly producing what we're requiring, or roughly producing what we're requiring for the plastic production. Therefore, we're going to connect now another one of these refineries to the grid, so we have an enhanced production of oil. We could now easily set up another one. Like that. And we need to put in a pipe like that. And as you see there, you can just expand these grids like that. It's a very, very simple thing. Technically, we can now do this until we have a consumption of 150 oil. So now we are completely stressing out the supply. Which is a little bit sad, because I would love to have flamethrower turrets also, which can spit out raw oil, but not now. Not now, not now. Well, we are going to go now and make ourselves the explosive stream come true. First of all, we need the sulfur. That is pretty simple, as we have now what it requires. I'm going to put down the sulfur production right next to... Well, let's see. Currently, we're not going to need the sulfur for anything particular, so I'm going to make it here. There we go. Very small scale production on this end, as I don't need too much of that. So here things get quite interesting. We do require here now 2 different fluid inputs. So let's set up a fluid pump. I still have one for water. We're going to require that one way or another later as well, because water is required for advanced oil processing. Therefore, this is already an investment into the future. So now we have 2 different, or even 3 different liquid networks to manage. We need to take care that these don't interfere with one another, but they can easily jump like this. So as you see there, I want to show, you can now do something like that. There's petrol gas in this line, and there's water on that line. Absolutely no problem. So we're now going to put up the connection like this. So now we're going to... Does that even work? Now we need to go a little bit upwards here. So just for the demonstration's sake, we need to go this way to make it work properly. Okay. I will explain more about pipeworks over the course of the next episodes, because this will be now a major topic for us. So we need to connect it like that. And especially linking these up in series is an interesting challenge. And now we're going to connect it, this one, like that. So that's going to be what it is. So we have now the two fluids together, and now all we need to do is to output it like that. There we go. So sulfur is a pretty demanding fella, and let's see, good, 1 inserter is enough. There we go. So now we have the sulfur. Let's see. We will require water and coal. So we have pretty much all it takes here already. So we're going to go and weave this together like that. Just like this. And with a little connector like that, we have all we need on this end. We eventually might need to rip out this part of the chain because we want to expand, but I love to showcase those little applications here. So let's do this. There we go. So as you see here, there's no interference between these, as pipe to grounds can easily jump between the regular pipes. It is very similar to this. It's just the same, just with pipes. the interaction is pretty much the same. Alright, so now we need to power up that fella. And it now only requires the ingredients. And now we got explosives. Explosives alone don't make cliff explosives. We're going to require this stuff now somewhere else. So it's always the biggest challenge to move the explosives somewhere else. Explosives are not only needed for the production of cliff explosives, though. You will use these for ammo production later quite a lot. So currently we're only setting up a very small scale production, but eventually you might want to upscale that stuff a lot. Since we are here currently producing grenades up there, and steel required for the rest of the chain, I'm going to just pipe up the explosives up to the other part of the facility, and we're going to work with it there. It's up to you how you want to make it. I can only recommend to consider where your long-term goals with these things are. That's what it is. Alright, we want to make now the cliff explosives, so we'll require a factory to make ourselves barrels. It's just as simple as it is. One steel bar makes one barrel. And after that, we want to have the cliff explosives. So we're going to go and... oh, we have here another one of our special guys where I was piping up steel like that. Alright, so here we have to go for a similar operation like we did before. Here things are a little bit more convoluted. Why the hell is there a inserter for bricks? Yeah, well, I'm asking too many questions. So first of all, we're going to finish that part. Just like that. Now we're going to set up a little bit of a splitter where we just filter again into steel, except for the fact that we wanted to connect it there. Ugh. So yeah, sometimes this is a wonderful example of spaghetti madness breaking out. So we're going to go. This is why sorting your factory is so important. But this should work. So we have now one dedicated line for steel. And now we're going to make it like that. But I do love that these things happen in this run, because I think this is a very excellent showcasing of Factorio, you see. It's just what the game does, and what it's all about, in my humble opinion. Alright, we're going to fix this now as follows. Just wire it in like that. There we go. Situation fixed. It's a wonderful, wonderful example of the same thing we did there at the beginning of the episode. I'm quite happy with that one. Alright, so now we only need to get the hand grenade on the belt, and then we are good to go. So, as you see there, this whole contraption gets more and more complicated, and if you ever reach the point where you get really angry at the spaghettification of your contraption, this is usually a sign that you need to rip out all the stuff out of the ground and refactor it and think about how you could make it better, differently. This is usually the point where I'm like, yeah, we need to do something different now. It is no shame, as I personally see it nigh impossible to prepare everything beforehand, especially if you don't know the game thoroughly. That's just safe to say. Now, this little factory here does only require the application of explosives. So we have now several ways how we can do this. Well, let's see. I think I'm going to go for this method. So, since we can't just do a T collider like that, this won't work, we're just going to go and work with a splitter like that. As you see there, now we have everything as it is needed. Splitter keeps things on one side of the belt only, but this only works if the input material is also on one side of the belt. Very important to note. Otherwise, this won't work and pollute the belt, because then the explosives would also be distributed on the other side of the belt. But since we work as we work, it is working as intended. And finally, we have what it requires. This is a very, very slowpoke production of the materials, but it is what it is, and it is available and works. By the way, rocketry is the technology that we require for many, many wonderful things, and I strongly recommend you to research it. Alright, so cliff explosives, by the way, work like hand grenades. So let's wait until we have 2 of them completed. You pick them up, and then you throw them at nasty, nasty cliffs. So this is really one powerful tool, and unless you opted into disabling cliffs at the beginning of your world creation, you have now, with this industry, the ability to just delete those godforsaken cracks off of your map. Isn't it nice? Also, we have unlocked modular armor, so let's craft ourselves one. It's one of those very few items where I must say it is meant to be handcrafted. So the red circuits are also ingredient on the chemical science pack, and technically, if you'd wanted to, you could now start handcrafting yourself a total amount of 75 of these blue tech packs. As I gotta say, mass producing these blue tech packs without advanced oil processing is so much less effective, but we'll do it nevertheless. But I just wanted to point that out right up front, that this is one of the points of the game where it wouldn't be any dumb move to just handcraft the 225 advanced circuits it requires, and my brain is out of order now. You get what I mean. Can do that. We're not going to do that, but it is one thing that will work out quite decently. So, I'll be not diving deeper into the construction of all that in today's episode, as I want to keep things on the basic oil processing and also cliff explosives. It was for me very important to showcase that, as I personally see these technologies as real game breakers in terms of opening up the map for you in a completely new way, as you can now use so many spots differently than before. So there's no more issues with areas like these, for example. This was one of my favorite areas to showcase, as now we can pretty much delete most of these underground belts now at that point without any issue. And that's why I personally always aim for the oil processing technology eventually, or as quick as possible in a way, as I really think, yeah, it's just that good. Alright, so next episode we're going to go for the mass production of red circuits and blue science packs, and that will finally get ourselves really a big step closer to a lot of really cool things. We're going to keep things small, as I always did with this series. We're going to go for a facility that produces only 1 blue tech pack per second. You require 24 tier 1 inserter machines, assembler machines for that. So we are going to upgrade our assembler machines at that point too. And I think it is also about time to consider new smelting methods for our steel. As you can see here, we have a pretty excellent area available for smelting. Basically just waiting for those patches to run dry. Alright, thanks for watching, you all. I hope that was helpful to you. And we are going to continue our endeavors and getting closer to the end every episode. So leave a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and check out the description box. There's a playlist link down there, and I'd be very, very happy if you'd be on the Discord or the Twitch channel of mine as well, where I do stream and love to have a chat with like-minded gamers. So, see you all next time. Thanks a lot for watching.